Well, spring is just about a month away, and at least where I live, spring is basically pre-summer, so I'm already thinking of those summer cooks. Things like brisket, pulled pork sandwiches, and ribs. So today I'm gonna get a little bit of my summer on in winter, and we're gonna do some ribs. We're actually doing them tomorrow. I'm getting them prepped today. So let's get started. So we're gonna do a variation on my brown sugar pepper rub today. And we're starting with 1 cup of brown sugar. To this, I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of chili pepper, 1 tablespoon of granulated garlic, 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika, and 2 tablespoons of ground black pepper. I just want to mix this up in here before we put the lid on and shake it. Got any of those big clumps of brown sugar, just go ahead and break them up. And if there's any of those big chunks when you put it on the ribs, don't worry about it. Those big chunks are going to dissolve in the moisture on the surface of those ribs. This already smells great. There we go. That is ready to get on our ribs, so let's get those baby backs out here. So we have a rack of baby back ribs here, nothing special about it. Now, I'm not gonna worry about the membrane today. Most of the time I take it off, but today we're just gonna leave it. It actually doesn't look that thick in places here. It's almost like some of it's been stripped away, so I'm not gonna worry about it. And we're just gonna put a little bit of our rub on the back here, not a lot, just so it doesn't feel left out and lonely. Get some on our edges here too. This is where we want the majority of our rub to go. And I'm gonna lay it on heavy. Now that's enough rub for 2 racks of ribs, but we're using a lot of it here. If your ribs are a little dry, you could use a binder. I have plenty of surface moisture here for this rub, so this is now gonna go in the refrigerator overnight. Really gonna let that seasoning just sort of set on the surface. A lot of this is gonna dissolve. It's almost gonna become candied on the surface there tomorrow. You'll see it's just gonna be like a liquidy paste of this brown sugar mixture. So into the fridge it goes, and tomorrow I will see you out at the Weber Kettle. All right, the Weber Kettle is coming up to temp. My target today is 250 degrees. I don't have any water in there because I'm going to be spritzing if necessary, and it's a kind of a damp day today, so I'm not going to worry about that. We'll just keep an eye on it. But let's go ahead and get our baby back ribs on. I'm going to get a piece of peach wood in here for some smoke. So let's go ahead, get our lid on, get smoking, and we're gonna come back in an hour, see how they're doing, see if we need to spritz at that time. We're just gonna let that peach wood smoke flavor these ribs. I've been using peach a lot more lately, and I'm liking it more on things like chicken and pork, so I think this is gonna go great today. I'll see you back here in a little bit. All right, we've been going 1 hour on this breezy day. Let's check our baby back ribs, see if we need to spritz. Oh, those smell really good, but definitely see some dry spots along here, so we're gonna spritz, and I'm just using plain water. I really just have found that water for moisture when you're spritzing like this works fine. You don't need a lot of extra flavors or additives, unless you're going for a very specific flavor and want to add something to the spritz. If it's just moisture, I find water works great. Let's give our hunk of wood a turn here. So we're gonna get our lid on, keep smoking, and we'll come back in an hour and see how we're doing. See you back here in a little bit. All right, we are at the 2 hour mark. Temp's been holding really steady right around 250. And I don't know if you can hear it, but they decided to do construction on a street really close to me, so you might hear some of that in the background, but it isn't going to stop this rib cook. So let's go ahead, open it up, and check our baby backs. Looking good. We are just starting to get some pullback from the bones here, not a lot. And again, we have some dry spots here, so I want to add a little bit of moisture by spritzing with plain water. All right, once again, we're going to get the lid on, keep smoking, and my guess is that we're probably going to wrap these at the 3-hour mark based upon the pullback of the meat I'm seeing now and the texture and color of the ribs. Texture and color are almost there to what I want. I just want a little more pullback on those bones, a little more tenderness. So I think at 3 hours, we're probably going to sauce these and wrap them. See you back here at the 3-hour mark. Well, the construction is really close now. How close? Have a listen to this. It's time to wrap these ribs. So I'm just going to do some voiceover while we wrap these ribs. Want to get some moisture in our foil here. We're just using the spritzing liquid, water. Now for some barbecue sauce. Want to get a good coating on here. Brush it all around. Now to double wrap in foil. We're going to get this back on the grill, and it's going to go for 1 hour before we check it. We've been going 1 hour in foil, and it's still too noisy to talk to you out here, so we're just going to get the ribs out of the foil, back on the grill, and give them a little more sauce. Gonna brush that around so we have a nice coating. And we're gonna let these go for 15 minutes to let that sauce set. And then I will see you inside. Well, here is our finished rack of ribs. Let me tell you, that was a challenge today. It really wasn't so much of a challenge of the cooking part, but I make videos, and that was challenging both with the wind and with that construction noise. Sometimes there's just nothing you can do. You just gotta, hey, say you're gonna do a voiceover later. So that's what I did. But these turned out fantastic. That last 15 minutes on the grill there, just to help set the glaze, that sauce, really, really helped finish the color on this. And I was also thinking about these ribs when I was out there and they were cooking. This is really an old favorite to me, the brown sugar pepper rub. I used that on a video a long time ago, and just tweaking it slightly here, I think it was adding some of that chili powder, which really sort of, just a little bit of a kick. It's not going to be too much. You could totally leave it out and just do the brown sugar pepper rub. But those ribs were so good then, and I'm really hoping that these are good now. So let's cut in. Let's go right here. And right there. We'll get a rib right out of the middle. Oh, that is looking good. These are probably a little bit beyond the way that I normally like my ribs. I like bite off the bone. These aren't 100% fall off the bone, but they're a little closer to that than bite off the bone, but I can tell they're going to be great. So let's have a taste. Those are really, really good. I think I mentioned that I've liked using peachwood recently, especially with pork and chicken. For some reason on pork, it's just got this really nice light flavor, that fruit wood. Not quite hickory, a little bit below that. I love hickory on pork, especially on ribs, but the peachwood, I think it works really well. And on this, I can taste it, it's great. And yeah, as you can see, part of this is fall off the bone, but we'll just go with that and enjoy it. That pepperiness to the rub, mixed with the sweetness of the brown sugar. I really, really like that rub. I've used it so many times. I think I've really only done it in the one video previously. And just a little hint of the chili powder in there, just a tiny little bit of heat. And again, you could leave that totally out, but I really like it in here. And so what I'm left with here for the last bite is almost like a rib popsicle. And I'm going to enjoy this last bite. Even with the challenges today, I'm calling this a success.